Futures made of virtual sexuality. Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host Ryan.
Hello.
And the dog. The dog joined us as well. He has nothing to say.
Well, he can't say anything. He's a dog.
If he starts saying things, I'm leaving.
He's actually very vocal. Like, he's an animal that he has a lot to say.
I don't know if he has an opinion about the 1999 comedy Virtual Sexuality, which is the film we are uncovering today.
Yeah. What a treat for our 80th episode.
A wonderful fan of ours brought this to light after our 9 songs episode.
It was, I think when we initially watched it, because we watched it before and we're like, oh, I don't want to sit through this. But then we checked it, and because it did have stuff in it, we were like, oh, okay. I guess we'll come back to this one.
I had a different opinion when we first watched it, and I loved it. So, it hasn't changed too much from then to now.
Yeah, I think, I didn't like it when we watched the first, 20 or 30 minutes of it. And then I watched it all the way through. And I had a lot more questions, but I didn't dislike it. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, because I thought, let's do virtual sexuality, because it'll be a nice, lighter addition to some of the stuff. It's shorter for starters than some of the stuff that we covered for June. So I was like, let's do something that's kind of stupid, and Ryan will just rail on it like crazy, just pummel it with volcanic hate.
And then
I think it's a sign of my age, though. I think I'm starting to simmer down a little bit.
I don't agree. I don't think that's true. But this film is 1999. This film is high school for us.
Oh, this is 99 as fuck.
It's
this is
great.
Yeah, this is like at the cusp of Y2K, just before the dawn of the new millennium. This is it kind of wrapped up in a nutshell.
I have a deep, resounding love for Y2K movies, for films that go into virtual reality.
Yes,
that
I
it's
thought
a
we'd bring
really
this up.
weird
Yes.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lawnmower Man, Disclosure, Ghost in the Machine. I could go on.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes.
Hackers.
Yes.
Although Hackers is
that's not really a VR.
It's not really a VR thing, but it does VR. It has its representation of what hackers do.
Virtuosity.
In a cinematic sense is quite funny. Yeah, Virtuosity.
I have a list that I made on Letterboxd of
you
all
did,
my favorite.
Yeah, you did. I think
films.
whenever we get the opportunity to do anything with some VR in it, I think you get very excited.
I'm really hyped.
Yeah, very hyped.
So this film stars Laura Fraser as Justine, who I believe went to your alma mater. Ryan?
She went at what?
Your alma mater?
What's that mean?
She went to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland.
Oh.
She went to
Well, it wasn't the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland back then. It was the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama.
Same building.
Yes, the same building. It changed its name just as I left. And yeah, we weren't very happy about that. But yes, it's been a Scots institution for the arts for quite a while. Well, good for her.
She's from Glasgow.
Quite a lot of people have come from there. She's from Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's nice. That's nice to know. This is stuff I didn't really know. This is all news to me.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Rupert Penry-Jones plays Jake. Luke DeLacy plays Chaz Lovett. And Kieran O'Brien.
He's fucking back.
I keep wanting to say it because we've been watching Love Island, so this will not make any sense to anybody, and it won't be funny later. But the guy
I'm glad we're entertaining our audience with this. Yeah, just take time doing this. Continue on.
Kieran.
Oh dear.
Anyone watch Love Island? They can't hear me.
We do.
They can hear me, but I can't hear them.
It's only going to be for people who watch the UK version, and I don't know if our audience watches Love Island. I feel like they have a certain caliber of entertainment that
What's
maybe
wrong with
they would.
us then?
What's wrong with us? Because
Yeah.
we have like I'm kind of weird in a way that I like to gravitate towards more trash stuff more now, because like I think a level of pretension has become very selective now. It's like I won't watch some of the stuff that you watch when you're at home on your own, like the fucking Eric Romer box sets that you're now buying yourself and watching
This
at
shit
nauseum.
is so good.
Oh my god, yeah.
Eric Romer is my 2024 summer love language.
I think you know what, his films are probably very, very good. I'm just
Now you're just annoyed that I'm watching them all the time.
I think so, yeah.
That's why you don't.
I'm just pissed. I'm starting to simmer again. Fuck.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay, this film was directed by Nick Hurran. Oh wow, I didn't
Hurran.
practice this. Hurran.
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 It's either Hurran or Hurran, because I can
Nick
say
Hurran.
that. Hurran, like I'm hooring around.
Yeah.
Or Hurran. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can get away with it because,
can.
I can say it. How would you say it?
I think if I was really saying it in an American way,
Hurran.
Hurran. Nick Hurran is probably what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to say. But anyway, Nick is a British film and television director. His 1998 film, Girls' Night, was entered into the 48th Berlin International Film Festival.
Well.
So he's got quite a slim filmography, and for the most part, he's done a ton of TV. I would say if you want to look at the list of the stuff that he's done, it kind of goes all the way up to about 2018, because certainly he has his cinematic career, and then he kind of primarily goes back to doing TV, mostly at the BBC. So
Good stuff, though.
Doctor Who, Sherlock, The Prisoner, which I think was a remake of the old 70s version of The Prisoner, which is probably one of my favorite shows ever. But in terms of his films, it starts off with 97 called Remember Me. 98 we had Girls' Night. 99 we have Virtual Sexuality. 2002, Plots with a View. 2004, Little Black Book. And 2006, we have It's a Boy Girl Thing. Now, we did watch a couple of other things that he's made, because they're not terrible.
Last night I watched Little Black Book, and today I watched It's a Boy Girl Thing. And I gotta tell you, this is very consumable. It's all easy watching.
It's very,
I don't hate it at all.
It's very much fluff. It's a little predictable, but he has very similar themes through his work that we've found.
He's done more than one body swap movie.
Like a Freaky Friday or like Big, I guess, is the one I would liken
maybe more like
Virtual Sexuality
because
to.
Virtual Sexuality is weird.
It is weird.
And surprising.
It does some very surprising, weird shit.
It's a boy-girl thing is very classic.
It feels a little bit more like, your classic body swap movie.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual Sexuality, I think, is a little bit more, I hate to say it, like a little bit more clever. It does some more clever sciencey stuff. That you do. Yeah, it's a little bit more.
Get out of town.
It's a little bit more
Get out
sciencey.
of town.
Well, it is.
I did want to bring up that he's directed 2 episodes of Altered Carbon, one of which does have at least one full frontal male nudity scene in it.
Yeah.
Season 1, episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, from looking at the rest of his filmography, I don't know if we'll ever return to Nick's work.
not as far as I've seen so far.
No.
But if we did, I wouldn't be mad about it.
No.
The ones
I
I've watched in the last couple of days do not fall
This
into
is
that
an
category.
odd situation where we've watched. I've felt more involved in this man's filmography than even some of the more notable names that we've covered on like the podcast.
Why?
Like Schrader and stuff. I don't know. I
just really interested in this.
Well, I don't know.
Guy.
It's been on. Like I come home and it's on, and I'm like, I could watch this. You know, like it's one of those kinds of moments.
If you guys haven't seen Little Black Book in a while with Brittany Murphy,
fucked. Yeah.
That was also very surprising.
Yeah, that's super fucked up as well.
Yeah.
Like the ending of that movie's like
it's awesome.
It's wild.
Some villains in that film.
Yeah. But it's also I mean Holly Hunter's in that movie as well. Yeah, well she's very like sinewy in that movie. Like she's kind of like not like built like a brick shithouse, but she's very 2000s. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of those. Great. Yeah, she's very good in it. And I do like it. But yeah, why not? Why don't we get into the synopsis?
Okay. A frustrated teenage girl creates her perfect man in a virtual reality machine and in a freak accident gives him life. She is a god with the help of virtual reality. The tagline of this film is,
right.
If you can't find the perfect guy, make one. Also on the front of the DVD, it says, love is just a point and click away. So, yeah, I don't know. It's...
yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's very... It's got a real kind of British sensibility about it. Like British films from the 90s that had... How would we describe it? Because I don't want to compare it to like Train Spotting and stuff like that. But
there are some connections to Train Spotting in this
films. British films of the 90s, they kind of they steered away from the kind of closeted, kind of like blanketed, I guess, kind of like stuffy feeling about them, and kind of moved into the modern era. With a little bit more style and a little bit more class and a little bit more identity. And I think the 90s is kind of, it's like the new British new wave of like films coming out. And I would say that Virtual Sexuality, to a certain extent, although it kind of like, it has this weird sort of like, it feels like a very kind of glorified like BBC kids show, but it's for like adults. It kind of feels a little bit like something like that.
You can see the class and identity that this film has, especially since it begins with a wipe right at the beginning. There
are some transitions in this movie that I do not dislike. I work in the audiovisual industry, and I've seen some slideshows with some custom transitions. One of which I think I've described before is maybe my favorite, is the slide that folds up into an origami swan and then flies away.
Sick.
It was, that was a crescendo of a series of custom animations that this person had. And they were like, well, I'm going to be out in front of 1,000 people. I'm just going to go for it. And they did a whole bunch of stuff. I remember watching it, and I remember saying to the guys after, I was like, use all these transitions, right? They were fucking wild.
Have fun with it. Just have a good time.
Yeah. No, just like throw professionalism out the window. Like, you don't need to look good at what you're doing. You just have to make sure that people are entertained.
That's what this film is.
That's the mantra I hold on to.
This film doesn't look bad. I'm just joking. But this film is actually based on a novel called Virtual Sexual Reality. It came out in 1994, and it was part 2 of Chloe Ray-Ban's 4-part Justine novel series.
Okay. So
there's more. Chloe Ray-Ban's a young adult author, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. This is definitely... I mean, this is R-rated, and everyone is playing teenagers. Even though for the most part, they don't look like they're teenagers. They look like they're definitely in their mid-20s, close to their 30s.
If you were wondering why Rupert Penry Jones maybe looks too old to play a teenager. It's because he was 28 or 29 when they filmed this motion picture.
Oof. Yeah.
He's also lines.
Yeah, but he's also as we go on, like he's not real. Like he is a creation.
We might have to argue about this. I don't know. I have a lot to say about that.
This is going to be like a real bone of contention just for the podcast in general. Like
I think
for this
we're going to
episode.
get into some trouble here,
Yeah.
but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to like breaking it down and like figuring it out. This fucking weird Y2K like nonsense.
The Noel Gay Motion Picture Company produced this film, who were also responsible for Train Spotting.
Okay.
And I don't know if the soundtrack is great. The soundtrack is super fun. I mean, the whole movie is very nostalgic of that time. There's the hair, the clothes, the music, everything is wonderful. I'm going to put some of these songs, like Imogen Heap, All Saints. I'm putting some of this music on my favorite songs list.
It's very indicative of the time. Like it takes you back. It's a little nostalgic because certainly this is the period of time where you and me would have been, well, yeah, we would have been teenagers at this point.
Yeah.
Like just getting into the 2000s,
15, 16, 14, something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, we left school at 2003, so.
Yeah. I can count.
So can I.
Heath Ledger actually flew from Australia to read for the role of Jake.
Fucking hell.
Boom.
Yeah.
He flew then to the States and ended up booking 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, well then that's okay. That's fine. He was destined to play that role then. Yeah, no, he made the right decision there. That movie is pretty good. That's his standout. That's one of his standout roles, though. Is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. But yeah, that's fine. No, I think who they get to play Jake in this. Yeah, it's like the whole thing where he's blonde and he's like this tall, lanky man, and it's like he's for what this girl. She's a young woman. She's 17.
Yes.
Absolutely obsessed with sex and, busting her cherry as all 17-year-olds are apt to do. Well, I mean, that's the thing. This is all, she's looking for Mr. Right. She wants to have sex with the right person. She just doesn't want to do it. She wants to, like, fall in love and all these sorts of things. Very kind of idyllic. There's a very, very idyllic sense of living in this picture.
I don't know if that's how every girl felt in high school. It's certainly not how I felt. I wasn't waiting around for Mr. Right.
I wasn't talking about in reality. I'm talking about the reality in this film and in films of this
virtual reality sexuality.
Yeah.
It's a trope. Yeah. It's a trope of the high school thing. Yeah. Oh, I've got to get laid. I have to lose my virginity. It's got to be perfect. It's American Pie. It's every American high school movie that exists.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'll allow it. I get it. So she's going out with all these crappy guys. She's annoyed that everyone sucks. She keeps talking about Mr. Barcode as if that's a thing.
Yeah, she was gonna scan the right barcode and their barcodes were gonna match up or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's a tropey thing that I think has come from the US, like from America.
For sure.
But, by the time you're 17 in the UK, like
you gotta have a couple of kids, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. Or you're like living off the system because you have a couple of children. Yeah, I mean, it's not the same for everybody. I'm not saying that's the case because I'm from the UK and I'm also from Scotland. It was, it's like if you lost your virginity by 14, 15, then, because the age of consent over there is like 16.
Yikes.
But yeah.
So there's the things in particular that jumped out to me that reminded me of high school were when she goes on the date with the Mr. Barcode and he's a shitty dude and he's got an annoying car and he takes the CD player face off.
Fuck yeah, he does.
And Oh my gosh, I remember when it was probably my Hyundai Elantra that I had in high school. And I remember my dad putting in the CD player and he goes, you got to take that off. You know, when someone's stealing it.
Yeah, my dad had it in a case.
Yeah.
He used to take it out and put it in a case and then take it into the house.
I even recently, in the last 6 months, went to go look for a new, I got an older used car and I needed like a new system so I could play Bluetooth things on it.
Yeah.
And I go to a place and he goes, oh, well, if you don't like the ones that are touchscreen, you know, that have your Bluetooth and everything on it, you can get some of these. These are cheaper. And it was the same shit. They still sell those for the CD players in your car. And you could take the face off. I was blown away they still make those.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you can't have dead technology if it continues to work and function. Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that. I think like it makes more sense now because we're not carrying a bunch of CDs. Like I remember my dad having in the boot of his car, he had like a triple CD changer.
Absolutely.
And he would change out and be like, what do I want on this drive or for this week or whatever? And he could change which CD it was.
Yes.
But then he had a ring binder full of CDs. I remember going out with my dad at the weekends and stuff. He would go to like HMV and stuff like that. He would go to the sales, no joke, he'd come home with like 10 CDs. Like every weekend.
I mean, my car, when I was in high school, I had a binder in the car, and then I had you have that, or the flip down on your visor, you know?
Yeah, of
You've
course.
got 10 CDs up there that are just cooking in the heat.
In the heat, yeah. Well, you didn't have that problem in Scotland.
Oh, right,
but
yes.
Yeah, certainly, yes. It is very much a product of the time. Also, like, I have an issue with people who wear sunglasses at night as well, and this guy did it, and it's like, oh.
That just means you're really cool. That's all.
Yeah, he was rad.
So rad. Justine has a Big Willie style poster in her bedroom. Did you clock that?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I want one now. It's an amazing album.
Yeah, which is ironic because she's all about those big willies.
She really is.
Yeah, she was. She's
she
all
loves
about
them.
She's all about a big length of cock, this one.
Jesus. Oh gosh. So yeah, our main character Justine is trying to get laid by Kieran O'Brien, who's kind of the resident sexy guy at school.
He's
big man about town.
Yeah, he is the man about town. Showed her the time of her life.
He seems like the worst person.
Yes.
But that's just how it goes, you know?
That's just how he's been written. He's
This is a work of fiction, Laura. Remember?
This is not real. No, there's a lot of chat about like, oh no, I'm a virgin and I'm like being a girl is the best. And you're like, blokes, what are they all about? It's kind of like the covers of like lads mags and stuff like that. And it's like these men and it's all this sort of stuff. And like, you know, she meets a couple of builders. One of them goes like, your legs would make a lovely scarf.
It's pretty good.
There's some humor in this. I mean, one of my favorite lines in the entire film is I think it's very fucking funny.
Yes.
When he's washing the car windscreens.
Yes.
And there's the cabbie like just behind him, and the cabbie just goes to me, goes, all right, cock.
Never understood why he was washing windows.
It
just happened.
Well,
he brings home some money.
Let's just get it out of the way. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Right.
Just out there in a fucking wife beater, like cleaning windscreens like a tramp, which is basically like that's why they do it. I don't know why they couldn't have done anything else, but yeah.
I don't know what the point of it was.
No.
It kind of comes back around. Okay, hold on. Just for reference, I just kind of want to go over the body swap thing really quick.
Yeah, we can.
Just so that we can eventually get to the locker room penis scene. But
carnage.
My
Utter
God.
carnage, yeah.
Yeah. So, in order to try to get with character's name? Alex. Okay.
Alex.
Kieran O'Brien
yeah.
is Alex.
Because there's only a handful of men in this, and I don't like Jake in general. Isn't really a character to me. It's kind of just an extension of Justine, effectively.
I mean, that makes sense considering what happens.
But then it's mostly Alex and Chaz who are kind of like diametrically opposed. But they're friends. Like, they hang out with each other.
I'm sure that they've known each other since they were kids, and
probably lived in the same area. Yeah,
they use each other. You know,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean you get your use out of folk in school, and then you don't really ever see them again.
Because I know that when I really wanted to watch pornography with my friends, I would just call them up and bring my big box of porn over when their parents were out and smoke cigars in their house.
Yeah, that's a weird scene.
Who
like that
watches pornography with friends?
It's also very weird pornography. It's like cleaning windshields pornography, funnily enough. It's odd,
interesting,
yeah.
Right?
And she's like licking the hose water. It's very odd, yeah.
I guess you have fun kitschy porn and you've got porn with a story. That's not what this looked like. This looked
like video art stuff. You know what it looked like? It looked European. That's what it did.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she is trying to go on a date with Alex. It doesn't work out, so she goes to a VR convention with Chaz.
Yeah, because she's got her best pal, Fran. Let's not forget about Fran.
Totally.
Yeah, she's a right goer. She's a right bundle of laughs, a firecracker.
Yeah.
But she has lost her virginity. So I guess it's kind of like you have Justine and Fran. Justine, obviously, who's still a virgin, and Fran's like helping her along. And then Chaz and Alex. Alex, who's had plenty of women, according to him. And then also Chaz, who's just a bit of a geek.
It's a 100% a she's all that situation.
Oh, yeah.
Where you've got the geek, and the geek takes the glasses off, and you go, wow.
Pretty much,
You've been hot all along.
Mm-hmm, yeah. It's like Clark Kent. It's like you'd never know he was Superman unless he was wearing those glasses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Justine goes into the narcissist machine where she can see what she would look like if she had different colored hair or eyes or bigger boobs. And then she was like, what if I was a dude? Or what... Maybe that's not what she was thinking necessarily, but let me see what a hot dude I could make from this machine.
Yeah, her ideal man on a surface level, I guess.
Because all she can think about is getting laid. That is all she wants. She's crazy for it.
Yeah.
I did laugh.
As they say back home, Ganton.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She couldn't, yeah.
When
hot to trot.
When she...
Wetter than an otter's pocket.
Changes her sex to male, right? And then she makes his dick really big in the machine, and then the people outside could see it. Yeah. And the machine operator is going, oh my, and just makes a big old penis.
I mean, that's just like Baldur's Gate 3. Like, that's just straight out of character creations for video games now anyway. Because Baldur's Gate 3 had a really big, they had a big dick thing where you have a massive bulge.
Cool.
Yeah, and you can get yourself a nice big dick if you want one.
Our director has a love of boner jokes and penises. The movie I was just watching, It's a Boy Girl thing, lots of boners.
I mean, I would try anybody to not look at that nightclub scene where Jake's just standing there with a rock hard boner and everyone's like dancing around him.
It's hilarious.
Like it's great. It's hilarious to the point where it's weird as fuck.
Yeah.
Like just seeing that happen.
I gotta say, in It's a Boy Girl thing, the boners are so big that I'm confused as to why they would do that, because I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's as though you had a ruler, a foot long, really big, and she's going, why my boner's so big. And at least in this movie, it's a little bit more contained, even though he has a supposedly a really big penis because she made it that way.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, well, she said it was like 9 inches or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And he does like, there's a dick slap. Like, there's the the film hits a lot of very predictable, but like it hits all of the stuff you would expect from this kind of, we'll say in quotations, body swap film, where you're testing out the waters in your new body, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this whole shenanigan gets rolling into motion because one of the construction workers that was saying, I want to wrap your legs around my neck, right?
Yeah.
Your legs would make a great scarf.
Of course.
Throws a cigar, right? Isn't that what it was?
No.
Or was it a taxi driver?
No, the young one of the builders puts a hole through a gas pipe, and then a taxi driver flicks his cigarette, and then that causes a gas explosion.
That then somehow turns our main character into the man that she created in this VR machine.
Well, it blows up the entirety of the expo.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of like it's like the aftermath of the beaches in Normandy. Like, people are like crawling out of wreckage and they're like looking for their friends, and you see this sequence where we think it's Justine and seeing her point of view and stuff like that, and people are running around. It's horrific. But then that's when you begin to realize
that Justine is now
Jake. Yeah.
I gotta say, no notes. Totally normal logic, and I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. It's totally into it.
Yeah. But the main issue I have with like how they've done this, because we do get a later reveal, right? But then Jake is wearing, like, if Jake is meant to be Justine, Jake is wearing the clothes Justine was wearing before the transformation. But as we find out later on, it's not like Justine is Jake. Part of Justine is in Jake. But Jake is like a separate entity.
It's as though Justine was split.
Split in half.
And one of the halves turned into the computer man.
Yeah.
But with her soul, memories, and entire being except in a man's body.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, she's been transposed into a man's body.
Is bananas.
It doesn't...
I was freaking out when that reveal happened. When Jake sees herself in the car with Fran.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who was the main character anymore. I didn't know what was going on. It blew me away. It was very different to any type of body swap, weird type of big type of movie I've ever seen.
I double took a little bit. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
I think I said, what? Out loud to myself.
I did the exact same thing, and I watched this at work. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I did like the montage. We were just talking about it. The montage of Jake looking at his man bits and shaving, was going to shave his pits, and he goes, oh no, I don't have to do that. And then...
I mean, he didn't need to do it anyway. No. There wasn't any hair there to begin with.
But the slapping of the wiener against the legs, hilarious.
Yes, we're all capable of doing that.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
If I could, I would. It's great. It looks like a great time.
But I think one of the interesting things about that sequence is that immediately, because you're still under the assumption that this is Justine.
It's just Justine.
Just Justine in a man's body. But or at least like you're under the understanding that this person's in this body, but because she's in a male body, Because that happens in the bath, right? She gets a boner in the bath.
Yes.
And you're not 100% sure, like, what is it in the magazine that's turning her on? Is it the boobies or is it the bulge?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's interesting kind of weird gender swapping, like gender norms and stuff being kind of, flipped around and stuff like that.
Well, when Jake gets the boner in the club, it's because Hoover was all over him.
Hoover, yeah, let's not forget about Hoover. Well, they call her Hoover because she sucks up everything. Which I think is kind of like, well, she owns it. She's kind of, I don't know, what would you call her?
It's interesting because when I heard the name Hoover, I thought, well, that's not nice. And they're not being very nice to her. And it seems very slut-shamey, but it actually isn't.
No, she owns it.
She's the queen bee of the school. She's the hot chick of school.
And
that's all. Yeah, she gets all the guys.
If she sees the man she wants, she gets it. Like, she knows what she does. Yeah, so it's not really slut-shamey. It's just kind of like, she's like empowered.
Yeah.
To quite a certain extent. If she wants a guy, she'll get the guy. But again, that's another interesting moment in that nightclub is that, like, again, you're under the assumption that that's still Justine, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
But
it is.
She's getting.
It is Justine.
She's getting boners off of the other lassies.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you're kind of I don't know, stuff like that kind of made it slightly more interesting. Well, that whole that whole sequence where he's like looking in the mirror and stuff like that, and he's looking at his body and stuff. It kind of reminded me of Spider-Man.
Like Toby?
Yeah, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Nice.
Where he's like looking at his arms and his his pecs and stuff like that.
Why wouldn't she get a boner looking at herself as a man?
I guess that's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Wouldn't you turn yourself on because it's not your body and it's
pretty
your
much.
ideal man body?
Potentially. Potentially. But it's like...
It's a lot of fun to be had potentially with that.
It's an interesting concept. I think it's maybe just going a little bit far. It's maybe a little bit too cerebral.
I'm trying to make my own body swap movie.
You are in your own head.
Yeah, I was talking about that other movie earlier.
This is not the first time.
It's a boy-girl thing, and I go, okay, so if they switched bodies,
this is not the first time you've ever brought this up, though. Like, if
what
you
if
ever
they
had
sex with each other? Is that gay, or is it self-love, or is it kinky? I don't know. Is it everything?
It's not gay.
But you're looking at yourself. You're having sex with yourself.
Yeah, but that person's also having sex with themselves.
Exactly.
So it's like having sex with a mirror. Except you're swapped.
Yeah.
So it's not gay because it's still different, it's still members of the opposite sex involved there. I don't think any of that's gay. I just think it's like having a very literal out of body experience.
Oh yeah.
It's like because I feel like I've had moments like that when I've like tried to walk home after a night out and I'm just like vomiting and I literally feel like I can see myself.
Wow.
And I'm just like, this is the worst I've ever felt in my life. And then I do it the next week.
I want to talk about some locker room boys. I'm ready to talk about these boys.
I think we're going to couple them together because they're pretty much the same. They're pretty much the same thing.
Scene, yeah.
But basically what you get, it's carnage. It's just utter carnage.
And it's so fun. It's really fun. Okay, so this penis scene comes in at 31 minutes and 54 seconds. And it's very funny. Very funny.
For whatever reason, they play basketball. And I would have thought, why are they not playing football?
True.
Which I feel like is more of an American influence than anything else.
Yeah.
Or to our American audience, soccer, even though that's not what it should be called anyway. It's football. Yeah, I think they understand. They understand my prejudice.
But yeah, Justine as Jake plays basketball with the boys. And they don't want Chaz on their team just because they're mean.
Because he's a geek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a geeky boy. He doesn't know sports.
But they also make fun of Jake for being, playing like a girl, etc.
Kind of, yeah, he's a little bit flouncy on the
sense.
field, yeah, which does make sense. It is meant to be Justine in a man's body.
They all head to the locker room. I don't know where they're playing to where there's a locker room nearby, because it doesn't look like they're playing basketball at school. It looks like they're playing basketball just wherever, but it's okay.
At like a club or something. It feels like a very remote location to weirdly have a kind of very pristine looking kind of like, that to me is like a very standard like football locker room. I've seen plenty of those.
They head to the locker room and all the men are already naked. I assume they all walked there together, but they are all naked and they are doing all the things. I'm just going to assume this is how men act in a locker room, right? You're slapping each other with towels and you're rubbing towels in between your legs and you're slapping your penis around. And
I mean, certainly
that's normal, right?
Yeah, certainly. Like when I get into the locker room, usually the first thing I do is I grab the nearest person that's still wearing their underwear and I lift them off the ground by a wedgie that's like tearing into their arse crack.
And you're making fun of wiener sizes and you're just causing a ruckus.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of lads, like living in the moment.
Because when Jake opens the door, it's butts. That's all that we can see is just a bunch of butts. And a few of them are doing a Buffalo Bill. I
noticed that. Yeah.
They've got it tucked in.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Yeah, but without the quote. They're just doing a hard tuck.
Yeah, no goodbye horses or anything. It's weird that that's happening. But the thing is like the thing I like about these sequences in the locker room is how brazen they are. Because we didn't expect this.
No.
I don't think anyone expects this.
The sheer amount of penises. Also, the fact that they are doing a funny joke, big, large, red X over the penises, but always just too late, with a sound of an uncorking every time they pop an X over a penis.
Kinda. I was like, boop, boop, boop. I didn't know if the censorship, I knew it was a joke, but I didn't know if the censorship itself was perfectly motivated for the moment. You know what I mean?
It was strange, but it was weird. Really funny. So it didn't bother me because it's just funny that they kept covering them up too late, and I just thought it was genius.
Because to me, I felt like, because Jackass does it, and there's a slow-mo shot, I think it's in Jackass 3, right? Mm-hmm. Where Pontius is like hitting a like a ping pong ball with his dick. But it's black barred, but the black bar doesn't follow him. And it kind of just like loses its way.
Yeah.
And then, so that to me, like I understood that. But for this it's slightly different. And I don't know if it's maybe like forced on by the censors and the director's just like, well, fuck it, we'll just do this because this will be funny. Because to me, it doesn't feel motivated in the scene whatsoever.
The X's?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Okay. I still think it's funny. I don't think that it would have... I don't think it necessarily would have added or subtracted whether or not they were there. I don't think it matters too much.
No, I think
if they were just penises, I think that it would still just be as wild as it is.
It's very rambunctious. Like it's just kind of It's every kid's nightmare in a locker room situation.
Girl's body swapping dream.
Kinda, yeah.
If I was in a man's body and I got to walk into something like that, I'd be in seventh heaven. I'd love it.
But supposedly Chaz doesn't get naked because he's got a little weenie.
Well,
according to Alex,
he's just mean.
He is pretty mean, but he's brought women to the brink of ecstasy like countless times. You know how like Alex spends more of his time with his clothes off than he does with them on. Like they're always like half hanging off, or he's like we enter a scene where his trousers are like unbuttoned, and he's like talking about like how he shagged this lass and all this sort of thing, and it's just like, just pull your trousers up, dude. Like stop doing that. Like button them up. Like nobody wants to see it.
When Jake tries to walk by Alex, he menacingly shakes his dick at him. Whoa, shaking it at him.
Well, Laura,
it's not. So weird.
It's just blokes, you know? It's just blokes.
Scary.
It is kind of scary. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, that just reminds me of like me, myself, and Irene. That bit.
Yeah.
He's like, footlongs, get your footlongs. He's like in the park.
Oh God.
You know, like with his penis out.
I think that this is a scene that maybe can go down as a very prominent, fabulous, and hilarious dick scene in my book. Top tier dick scene for me.
Okay.
Just for sheer amount in one room and how wild it is and how funny and just perfect for the situation. You know, you got a woman in a man's body walking in a locker room and all she wants to see is wieners and they're just swinging them about. It's her dream.
Yeah.
Her dream scenario.
Yeah, I think for me, a penis scene is only worth watching if it has a distinct amount of self-loathing.
Oh my God.
So, like, you know, like Bad Lieutenant. But yeah, with this,
you
like, it all makes
every time
sense.
you see a penis, you also want to see tears.
Pretty much. And whining, like whimpering. Yeah, that's all I want to see. Yeah. I think, I do. I think, like, because this isn't the only locker room scene, because it's like, it's very tropey. Like when you get into the locker room, like I am expecting to see a dick at some point, because I think the same thing happens in like Challengers as well, right? And also it's in Can't Stop the Music. That's where we see see the kind of dicks in that movie as well, because even though they're blurred out and you can't really see them when you freeze it, you know they're there because you can see that shit moving around.
Gosh, there's actually quite a few now that.
Oh, there's a bunch that we've covered that are in locker rooms.
Yeah, many. I never even thought about it until now.
I know, it's a bunch, and I half expect us to see a cock. If I don't see a cock in a locker room, because like you see boobies in this movie as well.
Boobies.
You know,
yes,
you do see boobies,
but barely.
You see them.
The ratio is very tilted towards the man, which I'm appreciative of.
Yeah, which is fine. You know, yeah. I mean, there's some decent looking ladies in this movie. They're all very much styled in the ways of the 90s into the noughties, though.
Butterfly clips and all.
Pretty much.
Platform shoes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so after that moment, okay, I guess we can wrap up the penis scene. The other one is the same. The other one happens at 53 minutes and 42 seconds. It's a quick back in the locker room. Alex is grabbing his junk, and that's pretty much
that's
it.
Where that's where the wedgie is as well. I think
in that bit, yeah.
They're just lifting that poor guy off the ground.
Wow,
it's just utter carnage. Like it looks like a literal fucking nightmare.
You're so scared to go in there for sure.
Oh no, I'd hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Yeah, then in the timeline of the story, this is where you find out that we don't necessarily have a body swapping situation. We have a split human personality into two bodies,
I guess,
that are just intrinsically linked as well. They know they have the same dreams. They know what each other are thinking, and they feel each other's pain. Wild.
Yeah, it's kind of. Here's the thing: if it wasn't wild and kind of like barmy, like kind of crazy, it would be unintelligible, and you'd be rolling your eyes thinking that's like the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
The accident forced her to inhabit the body of her VR-generated ideal man while simultaneously remaining in her own body and developing a crush on her male self. Weird and wonderful.
Yes, it's very odd. Certainly when, because in like, in Big, like, he goes big, basically. He turns into Tom Hanks, right?
And he will always turn into Tom Hanks.
And he'll always turn into Tom Hanks. And the thing is like, that child is missing. He is missing from his parents' lives. And they're like, we have no idea where our son is. And Tom Hanks is just inhabiting his adult life fairly.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like, I expected the same thing, because that's what it felt like.
He goes to his house and he goes, well, I don't want to worry my parents and I don't know what to say.
Exactly.
But there is nothing to say because it's
not
that.
No. It's a little bit mind bendy. But like I said, like, I think if you think a little bit too much about it, it does maybe get a little bit unintelligible, and you're kind of just a little bit like, well, that's like, it's so stupid. You start to dislike it a little bit, and I don't want to go that far with this.
But before we, okay, I do want to talk about this before we wrap this up. But they end up meeting. She's trying to sleep with herself, and it's just not working. Obviously, because she. Anyway, they end up having the conversation. You figure it out. There's a whole subplot of the people who made the narcissist machine who were trying to get Jake to study him to figure out how it even happened.
This is the one point in the movie where I'm just like, this is probably retarded.
I don't care about it. I didn't write anything down about this subplot. They mean nothing to me. But when it comes to
hold on, he does that guy also gives us the line of you're ugly as shit, but you're a genius, to like his compatriot.
Yes. He is a horrible person. And so is she, to be fair. They're both really shitty.
She's very smart. I
she
wouldn't say she was
machine.
Ugly either.
No, she's not.
Yeah, but like, there's...
this guy just wants a machine to make big tits. That's what he wants.
They put a fucking, like, a transistor on his cock and fucking shock him.
Yeah.
Through his penis. It's all sorts of hostile stuff going on in this.
Very weird. But I do want to talk about the end, because you wonder what's the resolution here. These people are linked mentally, physically, but they're also the same person. And so I wondered, how is this going to get resolved? And how it got resolved, I thought, was completely unnecessary. And but then I start thinking, oh, well, how does he get, he doesn't have an ID. He doesn't have a birth certificate. So how can he continue on? But they delete him.
They do, yeah.
I don't like that.
There's
Ryan.
a lot of questions around, I guess, that let's just call them the scientists, right? The purple scientists.
Yeah.
Where they have they're testing on him to figure out, like, well, one, his longevity, two, his connections to how, to Justine, basically. And certainly, like, I guess, like, the stability of this, because, like, what is it? Like, is it just it's a soul being inhabited into a kind of like electric, like, alter ego, like, alter reality, like, vessel that's now moving around with the thoughts and feelings of this real person that it's inhabiting? And it's, to me, like, it beggars, like, an awful lot of questions. And I mean, you say you don't like the bit where they delete him. No,
I don't. Because it's sad, and I don't know why. She's not missing anything. She's still a whole person. And he is as well. And they have different experiences. They might be having the same dreams, but they're different. They're becoming different. So why can't Jake live?
No, but Jake is the self-aware part of her personality, the maturing element of her personality that she adopts after he's gone.
Okay.
So I kind of take it on board as if he is a very physical thing. It's not like Tyler Durden or anything, but he's a very physical thing that is a representation of how she is going to physically move on and mature as a woman going forward so that she can see clearly, because she has her blinders on. She has her, her virgin blinders, and she's just obsessed with just getting it done, doing this, when obviously the perfect man was already in her periphery.
I guess. I think that would have happened regardless.
Potentially.
But what happens to Jake? Is he Job? Is he the lawnmower man? Does he go back into the internet? Does he become the internet? What happens to Jake?
No, he just becomes nothing.
Jake, that is horrible.
It's not
and cruel.
Well, it's because he wasn't anything to begin with.
He was.
He was just a vessel.
No.
He was just.
He had real experiences.
He was
and
a physical
real boners. He was real.
I think he was just.
Those are real.
He was just a vessel for the emotional climax of this movie.
I think they could have coexisted and been friends, and they could have taught each other a thing or two.
They could have. I think
they're basically siblings.
I mean, I'm just reciting the same shit over and over again, but
I just don't like it. That's all.
I know you don't like it.
It makes me sad. I was sad.
Wow, okay.
I didn't cry.
Yeah, well, I wasn't fucking sad.
I was sad when they pushed the button and she takes off the VR headset and he's fucking gone. He did a murder.
You know what's sad?
They did a murder also. They also murdered the purple scientist guy.
In what way?
They ran him over with the truck and it went squish.
Oh, fuck yeah. You heard him squish. Yeah, it's fucking fucked up.
They murdered multiple people.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, she goes on. When they're driving that
property
the
damage,
machine, that
murder.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of liberties taken, I think, with the movie. I think if you think about it too hard, I don't know why I'm defending it. If you're thinking about it too hard, then I think you've overshot your boundaries.
I think Justine is a villain, and she shouldn't have deleted him.
Okay, well maybe you should go read the book, like I did with Blue is the Warmest Color. Go read the book.
I'm gonna read that young adult.
Get yourself informed, and just then maybe that'll fill in some of the gaps. To me, I'll just close the book on this film. I'm never gonna watch it again. It was just what it was.
Okay. I did want to bring up the fact that band that's randomly around reminded me of Jonathan Richman from There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Just always around singing songs.
Not as good, though.
No. Because I think Jonathan Richman sang some songs that continued the story, moved the story forward.
Yes.
These people were just singing songs.
They're just singing and they're there. They're just kind of, they're props.
Yeah.
They're like entertaining, moving musical props.
They could have done more.
They could have, and they do use them. I just don't think they're utilized particularly well. Because when did There's Something About Mary come out? Was that like 97 or something?
98.
98?
The year before, yeah.
I mean, that's probably where they got the idea for.
Yeah.
For this. It's just not done as well.
This film made $74,000 at the box office.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
It was fighting up against The Matrix, The Mummy, and, funnily enough, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh,
and the same company put out 10 Things I Hate About You, put it up against Virtual Sexuality.
Of course they did, because they were like, it has to go up, it has to go somewhere. So
it's a shame.
They set it up for failure.
They did.
Because it wasn't as good. But
I think that they were wrong. I think this film is very interesting. Has a lot more than I was expecting. Okay, maybe I'm going to back it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say before we go into our ratings?
No. No, I don't. I don't think so. Okay. I think I said everything that I wanted to say.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and go first because I was already going on a rant. So I gave the visibility and context a 4.5.
Okay.
Shit, it could go to a 5 even if I wanted to, but there's so much of it and it's so pertinent to the film considering how much she wants to see penises and how horned up she is. And I don't even know what else I have to say. It's hilarious. I think it works for the film. And I enjoyed it. And I thought that the little X's were funny.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably go with a 4 because they do censor them, even if they are funny. So you can't go full marks for visibility anyway. So
I think you can. You see plenty.
You see more than you would in some of the other things that we've covered. But I still think, even if there's a level of censorship, which I still don't know how motivated it is in the scene either, I'd probably only go so far as to say a 4. But in the pantheon of locker room scenes, it is certainly one of, it's almost one of the scariest to me. Like, it's scarier than Eastern Promises in the bath, like where he fights people and stuff like that, and his dick's exposed to knives and things.
Teenagers are scary.
Kids are scary. They very much are. Like, that is a terrifying scenario, and I would much rather just walk home sweaty than...
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's some questions there in the context. That's why it gets a 4. But I do like it when it just cuts to someone being, raised off the ground by their underpants, and it just looks like it just looks like it is tearing their nether regions apart.
It probably is.
Yeah, because it's disgusting. But yeah, what about the film? What did you give the film?
I gave the film a 3.5 because it's not that good. It's not really a good movie, but it sure is watchable. It sure isn't
good.
No, I can admit that. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. I rated Lawnmower Man a 1. I love that movie. I absolutely love it.
And why did you rate it a 1?
I don't know.
It's not a 1.
It's bad, but I love it.
Yeah, it's a
Lawnmower
bad,
Man 2,
good movie.
Jove's War is also really bad, but I love that movie.
Yeah, well, Lawnmower Man 2's got roller skates in it. That's a vision of the future I'm into.
I mean, maybe let's watch Lawnmower Man again right away. That's fine. I'll fix it. But anyway, I gave it a 3.5 because it made me laugh. It surprised me a lot. And the sheer variety and frequency of penises was a true delight. And it's 92 minutes. That's beautiful. Can't fault it. No notes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Zero notes.
Yeah, hold on.
No notes.
No.
Perfect.
Well, I gave it 3 because I do think it's slightly better than average, but it's because I'm giving it a lot of leeway because it's stupid. It's stupid, dumb, young adult garbage.
Hell yeah.
It's dumb. And I like the fact that it starts off dumb, it continues being dumb, and it's also it just ends up being dumb. It's a dumb thing. It's got some really dumb stuff in it, and there's some funny things in it. It's very British, and it kind of has a very kind of British sensibility about it. And yeah, I think that's perfectly fine for a film of this ilk. If this film wasn't at least funny, because scrap all the stuff about it being interesting and twisty-turny and stuff like that. I don't really give a fuck about any of that stuff. It's just as long as the stupidity just elevates it slightly, I'm totally all for it. I mean, you have a good time. That's one of the reasons why I like Michael Bay so much. It's not because his films are good. No, most of them are fucking terrible. But at the same time, they're fucking stupid.
Ambulance.
And they're fun. Yeah. Ambulance is fun. Bad Boys 2 is that's why I like Armageddon and stuff so much. The Rock, actually, hold on. The Rock's actually probably a good movie.
That is a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. He has actually made some good movies. But the thing is they're in a bubble of stupidity, and you just kind of have to run with it.
That new Bad Boys movie is incredible. That's coming just from me.
I don't agree.
He doesn't.
I don't agree.
Loved it. Anyway.
It's fine, yeah. It's no Bad Boys 2.
He didn't direct that movie.
No, he didn't. No, he's got a hand in it. It's the same guys who did the ones before it, which was Bad Boys for Life, I think it was. But no, Bad Boys 2 is that weird, happy accident where it's just fucking hell, this is amazing. And you have no understanding why. It's just fucking hell, this is amazing. And it's also stupid. So, for me, it falls under the bracket of just, I'll never watch it again. I would highly recommend that someone watches it for 90 minutes because it's just a stupid, dumb time. You know,
Agreed.
don't get too involved in the science and the logic of it because it has none. Just have yourself a gay old stupid time.
Absolutely. I agree with you. This is the kind of movie you find on Tubi, and it is on Tubi.
Yeah. It's the same platform where you'll find that one where Trump comes back as a Chinese clone and fights aliens.
Tubi is an amazing place.
The Wild West of streaming platforms.
Absolutely.
And it's completely free.
Yeah.
So.
Tubi, be our sponsor. Anyway, cool.
I would take that money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I fucking would.
Do it for free.
Yeah, I'll take any money, actually.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening to our virtual sexuality episode. And make sure if you're not following us on social media, do it. It's on the BiTTE, BiTTE, and it's the same everywhere because that's our name. And write us a review, please, because it helps and it's nice.
It does help.
We like compliments.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to hear nice things. And coming to you from the scary penis-filled locker room next to a basketball court, I've been Laura.
All right, cock.